Nutnfancy Part 3 of his review, i.e. mine, of the Beretta M9 / Model 92. And here we go. We just talked about ergonomics, accuracy, durability, firepower, weight. All those are in parts 1 and 2. Here we go with simplicity. Simplicity means ease of use, field strip, and other issues too. Why do I even bring up simplicity? Well, simplicity basically speaks to the fact the gun will be easier to maintain, generally more reliable because we got less parts to bust, and it's just easier to use and to take down. First, I'm going to talk about ease of use, and I will say the Model 92 design is inferior to the Glock. Why? Because you have this. This is a battery of arms, and we spend a lot of time in the military teaching people how to use this lever because people who don't know guns aren't familiar with it, a safety. But guess what? In a 92, it's not just a safety, it's a hammer drop, and so they have to get used to it. And once they drop the hammer, they have to get used to flipping it back up in a ready-to-fire condition as we normally carry the 92. Round in the chamber, hammer down, safety off, so it's ready to rock and roll. And by the way, it is completely safe to carry in that condition. But that means we have to train. It's a battery of arms. And it also means that under stress, we can dick it up. And I say we, I mean you, I mean me, I mean everybody can make mistakes. Because let's say for whatever reason we ended up in this configuration and we go to fire the gun and we've trained to have the safety off, but for whatever reason we weren't thinking, we actually placed the safety on, that we come, we draw the weapon, there's a bad guy there, we need rounds on target like yesterday, and we pull and nothing happens. Now, you may be laughing, those of you who have no law enforcement or military experience, going, you know what, I would never do that. But guess what? There have been many documented cases where things like that have happened with both police officers and military members, especially people who don't have a lot of experience with guns. And here they are, pull, and they're panicked going, why isn't this thing going off? Well, your safety's on. Flick your safety off, and then you can pop rounds. Now, it's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Complexity, like I'm talking about here, can kill you. And it's not because it's a bad design, it's just what it is. It just means that it can lead to humans, which are generally imperfect by nature, screwing it up, and you're not going to be able to defend yourself. Now, again, of course, I always stress in all my videos, train. If you decide to carry a 92 on your person, even as a civilian, then train with it. And by training, I'm talking we can dry fire. Again, we check the chamber, check the magazine. Yep, it's empty. And then we can dry fire it. And dry fire it in a safe direction and carefully, and we can learn the battery of arms. And if we train our muscle memory to the extent where it is always ready to do it, we'll find ourselves in the heat of battle doing it right. In other words, maybe when you train with the 92, every time you bring it out of holster, you do a sweep, forward sweep to the trigger. Again, forward sweep to the trigger, and that way you make sure that every time that you're double checking that safety's off. Me, myself, I never put that safety on. And that's, again, the way the military trains its folks, is to carry it just like that. And when I'm saying the safety comes on, that I'm going to say inadvertently, contrary to their training procedures. So that's that. By the way, I'm just covering up the serial number. I know it's all over the gun, but I just cover that. That's what that white tape is, in case you're wondering. But it's a more complex design. If you contrast that with, first, a Glock design, what do we see on a Glock? And I don't have one here to contrast it right off, is we don't see this. We don't see a safety. We see a slide release, and that's it. You know, you don't even have this takedown lever. That's why I say in terms, and I'll get to that in a second, but that's another control. Now, could we under stress, rotate, and that's a slide release lever? Excuse me, I don't know. I've never heard of that being done. That's kind of an awkward rotation to come that far. But you know what? I'm always being amazed at what people do when it comes to high-stress situations. It amazes me, and it's just the way it is. But it's definitely a more complex design than the Glock 17. How about the Sig? I would still say the Sig is far and away superior to the Model 92 in terms of simplicity. All we have on the Sig is a dedicated hammer drop right here, and we have a slide release right there. And a little bit of training on the Sig, maybe a lot, depending on how quick you pick things up. Bam, bam, we can get used to it. And we don't have to go high on this. with a dual function control, and that's what this safety is. It's a dual function control. It's a safety and it's also a hammer drop. That takes training. So that's a hit of simplicity. How about field stripping? I'm going to say that both, actually it's about on par with the SIG 226. The SIG 226 has a takedown lever just like this. We rotate it, and let me go ahead and take this down. We'll see how easy it is. We just take the magazine out, double check, rack the slide. Go ahead with our index finger on the other side, push that takedown lever out, retain the slide with your other hand, slide it off, bam, it takes down pretty darn easy. There's your barrel, there's your recoil spring. We lubricate, clean, do our maintenance, whatever we need to. Now, this is about on par again with a SIG design. I will say that the Glock design is even easier than the Beretta Model 92, in my experience. We don't have a dedicated takedown lever there. Let me make this up. It's hard to see through this. There we go. Do a function check. Yep. In a Glock design, we don't waste time, metal, and complexity with a takedown lever. All it has is those two takedown bars. You just slide to the down position, and that will disengage the slide for field stripping purposes. So, field stripping is on par with the SIG 226. It is inferior to the Glock 17. Again, that's my own subjective judgment. Nutnfancy's, your mileage may vary. I'm going to see if I can end this in a part 3, so I need to hurry. How about accessories? Well, earlier you saw that Marine version, what was it, the 92A1. It has a rail on here. I wish the military had adopted that. It gives you a lot more options. When I can get it, I will always take a Picatinny rail for light mounting. It gives us options for accessories, and I really like it when we have that. However, the M9, as you see here, does not have the rail. I guess the Marine version does. So we can't mount a light on it. That sucks. How about sights? Well, you can get all kinds of sights for the Model 92, both Tridges and Mepro lights. They're everywhere, so on par with the Glock and Sig designs. There's lots of magazines, lots of plates. I'm talking about grip plates that you can exchange for it. So let's be fair to the Model 92. We'll put it on par with a SIG 226, and I will still say it's generally not as good as a Glock 17. Very few guns match the variety and versatility of all the accessories available, both for the trigger, both for the slide, grips, the internal workings. I will still say that Glock is just a little bit better. But that being said, it's not like by and far better because there's a lot available for the 92. But again, I may be missing something on the 92. I'm not the end-all expert. That's just my overall view as the years have gone by. So on we go. We're talking price now. This is an M9 service pistol, of course, in service currently with the U.S. military. But if you go out and buy a Model 92 FS, its civilian counterpart, expect to pay a lot of money. They're expensive, pretty much on par with SIG in my experience. I'm not going to give a price because it just varies so much. But the Beretta is just an expensive pistol. Part of that is an outgrowth of the fact that it's in service with the U.S. military. In other words, a lot of people love to own it just because it's a military gun. And you know what? I am totally not like one of those people. I don't care if the military is using it or not. The military uses a lot of crap too. Doesn't mean I want it in my own inventory. But the 92 is expensive. It's more expensive than the Glock 17, again our standard, and it loses by probably a couple $100 to the Glock. Probably about on par with the SIG 226. That brings us to track record. How has this gun performed? Overall, I will give the Model 92, the M9 service pistol, about a 7 out of 10 for performance. That might be higher than you thought I was going to say, but overall, the magazine issues notwithstanding, this is a pretty darn reliable pistol. The reason it changed the way people think about auto pistols is because it works, generally works, as long as you don't have those gritty magazines. It is a very reliable design overall. Does it rise to a level of a SIG? No, it does not. Again, that's Nutnfancy's opinion. Does it rise to a level of a Glock? I don't think it does that either, just from my personal experiences. But overall, it's had a pretty solid track record. Sadly, it's in a 9mm chambering, which in a full metal jacket loading absolutely sucks for energy transfer. It's a horrible man stopper. We need expanding bullets in a 9mm to do any good. But we're constrained by Geneva Conventions. I'm out of time. That's part 3, the Model 92 M9. It's a decent service pistol. It's not too bad. It has a lot of good features. It is reliable, has adequate firepower, good accuracy, acceptable ergonomics, okay simplicity, a variety of accessories, but it's just too darn heavy. It has choked in my experience, and I think the Glock and the Sig designs are both superior to the Model 92. Thanks for watching Nutnfancy with a review of an actual piece of military hardware. Please comment and give me lots of good ratings, and I might give you more. Thanks a lot, and subscribe if you get a chance. Nutnfancy. See you!